Thank you. Thank you. It took me a while to get there. I reviewed his book a few years back without having read any philosophy, and yeah, I don't. Well, let's not talk about that. I actually wanted to make this video because I think you will really like Nietzsche as well. He's a German philosopher born in 1844, and before we dig too much into this, I just want to preface by saying that, you know, I'm not an expert. I'm just making this video to hopefully inspire you guys to dig into his readings as well, because there's so many misconceptions about Nietzsche that sort of makes you wonder if anyone's ever actually read him. As someone who did read him and didn't understand anything. But for me, it was really fun to discover just how wrong I was with all the assumptions that I had about him. The only thing that actually turned out to be right is that he has the most beautiful mustache that probably the world will ever see. Most of you are likely to have heard of Nietzsche already. I think he's just so popular. He's referenced in movies. You probably heard of one of his quotes, most famously, "God is dead and we have killed him." And I think you hear these things and you make assumptions about him. Crazy mustache, weird name, philosopher guy. It led me to believe that Nietzsche was a nihilist, especially since it seemed like teenagers appropriate him as a symbol for thinking that life is pointless, and I like Nietzsche. I'm a nihilist kind of view. Maybe that's just me, but I remember seeing in the movie what was it called? Sunshine something. But what Nietzsche actually stood for was something really beautiful that I think a lot of these teenagers could benefit from, which is his life-affirming philosophy. That's right, Nietzsche wasn't a nihilist. You could argue that he was, because some views that he has could fit that category. But in general, he actively fought against nihilism, that life is pointless. Nietzsche, more than anything, wanted you to say yes to life. And I don't know how things got so twisted. And guys, I don't mean to call you out, okay? But I do stream a lot. And a lot of times when I get questions or, you know, people tell me about their own lives, a common thing seems to be that there's a lack of meaning or a lack of purpose, or whatever direction you're going in life. It doesn't feel right. And I feel for you. I really do. This sort of lack of meaning and lack of purpose comes to the conclusion that, you know, like most school of thought, that life is suffering. And Nietzsche, of course, also recognized that life has suffering, but he brilliantly turns this suffering on its head. Nietzsche actually criticized people that wanted to remove suffering, because according to him, suffering is what gives value or meaning to your life. Without pain, life would just be meaningless and absurd. And he believed that the best moments in life comes from suffering. We can all relate to the feeling of joy after undergoing a very difficult task. You know, it's the basic plot resolve out of any movie as well, really. Pain is unavoidable in our lives, so why not give it a purpose? There's obviously a limit to how much suffering you can endure, and that person, by Nietzsche's logic, the person who can endure the greatest amount of suffering is the greatest person, according to Nietzsche. You know, he is a bit harsh here, but I think that's what makes him interesting. It reminded me of my favorite part of one of my favorite novels, which is The Count of Monte Cristo. And it's when the Count says, "There is neither happiness nor misery in the world. There is only the comparison of one state with another, nothing more. He who has felt the deepest grief is best able to experience supreme happiness." And this is coming from the Count, who had undergone in the story this immense journey of suffering. Nietzsche has written a vast library of work, and there's a ton of very interesting concepts that maybe you've heard about before, like the Übermensch, the will to power, master and slave morality. But I wanted to keep this simple and focus on the life-affirming philosophy. And my favorite passage from Nietzsche is the eternal recurrence, which is this idea that life is a cyclic thing that has been reoccurring and will continue to reoccur for infinity. This idea of a cyclic time isn't unique to Nietzsche per se. Even the Greeks had an idea of it. And Nietzsche gives this poor attempt to try and explain how it's possible with conservation of energy. But it is interesting how it is, you know, it's not theoretically impossible. We know that with parallel universes now. But it's also kind of besides the point. It's more of a test to see if you're affirming life. And it goes like this. If someday or night a demon were to steal after you into your loneliest loneliness and say to you, this life as you now live it and have lived it, you will have to live once more and innumerable times more, and there will be nothing new in it, but every pain and every joy and every thought and sigh and everything unutterably small or great in your life will have to return to you, all in the same succession and sequence. Would you not throw yourself down and gnash your teeth and curse the demon who spoke thus? Or have you once experienced a tremendous moment when you would have answered him, you are God, and never have I heard anything more divine? I have, and I'm very thankful for that. It's during my wedding when I was dancing with Marcia. I felt, as being surrounded by my family, I had this moment of feeling like, you know what, whatever my life turns to, at least I had this moment. But that's not the point of the, necessarily of the statement. It's to give importance to this life. And it's a good thing to ask yourself, and the way you live life right now and the path you're in, would you want to take that path 100 times more? A lot of times we go down roads that, I think a lot of us have this notion that once I do this, then I will be happy, or once I get to this point, then, you know, I will be satisfied. It's sort of a wake-up call for decisions that you make in life, and Nietzsche wants you to recognize life and all its suffering, and at the end of it say, yes, that was life, one more time please, once more. And that's life affirmation, and that's, to me, is the beauty of Nietzsche. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, subscribe, like, all that stuff. Always appreciate all the support, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye-bye.
You thought it was dead, but true relevance never really died. Welcome to the first Undead game! Use any item in your inventory and make memes inside Tuber Simulator. Add some of our patented stickers in there. Stickers are emotions. Memes are emotions. Express your emotions with memes! Share them for likes. Share them for love. Get them for free! And who knows? Maybe I'll review your memes. The greatest honor of all time. Full circle, baby! Download it! Make a meme! We need subtitles on this.